After watching The Force Awakens twice now, first time watching it on the day, December 17th, in England, I pre-ordered the tickets, spent a fair amount of money in pounds on them, took my whole family, friends who had also come on the trip with us. We all went to go see it, and I sat there and just went, oh, I was illuminated. I was so overwhelmed by so many things. I was so excited, I was so just pumped up that as soon as I left the movie theater, I pretty much forgot every little thing about that movie, essentially. And it took me about a day to really mull over my head. That just happened. Star Wars just happened. Again. It was mind blowing, and I went through the rest of my trip still thinking about that movie. I was still thinking about Force Awakens, constantly thinking about Force Awakens. That I made it my mission as soon as I would get back home, I would go and rewatch The Force Awakens as soon as possible. Now, I've finally done it today. After working and getting a bit more money to, pay for the rather expensive movie ticket and drink, which came to about, what was it, $16.50 for a ticket and a drink. For a medium drink, man, yay big. All came to $16.50. I was just, oh well. I sat there, and it was the same experience. I wasn't as jacked up, like, oh my god, this is the first time ever. I was more, you know what, I know what's going to happen, and I'm very excited to see that happen again. And that is why I want to tell you all what my perspective on The Force Awakens is, based on all the theories that everyone has, all these ideas of what the characters could be, who their backstories are, where they could go in future films, what key scenes mean for everything, past, present, whatever. And I want to share with you all my perspective of all that. First of all, practical effects versus visual effects. I've read recently that there was actually more visual effects, more CGI shots in The Force Awakens than there was in The Phantom Menace. There was about 2,100 visual effects shots. The Phantom Menace had 1,900. But that's the thing. When I went to go see Force Awakens again, on the second viewing, I looked at it and thought, I know that there's a lot of CGI in this film, but I don't have a problem with it. I don't look at it and nitpick at how bad it makes it look, how artificial and weightless everything looks. Everything felt real, everything felt normal, and it was just, it was so amazing to see that. I'm going to keep going about I'm just going to keep going. Force Awakens just, that's how I felt. That's how I still feel about it right now. So, and to see the visual effects work so perfectly, and at a lot of the points I thought, I know this is visual effects, but I know this is CGI, but damn, it looks real. And that's the thing, is that the CGI that they use furthers the story. It doesn't halt it in some little stop that just gets your attention. It just loses your attention straight away when you see that bad visual effect happening, and it keeps going on, and you're thinking, why do they keep doing this? Why are they still doing this? Stop, please. I hated that. That was what happened in episode 2, but it's not what happens in The Force Awakens, and I'm very happy that they were able to blend CGI and practical stuff. 2, I don't think Snoke is Darth Vader. That is ridiculous stuff, and I don't think he's Darth Plagueis. That's worse. That doesn't make any sense. What I think he is, because I looked at him. I looked at how he looked, and spoiler alert for Force Awakens. I should have said that at the start. Spoiler alert. I'm going to spoil the crap out of this movie. I know some people still haven't seen it. I have friends who still haven't seen it. I'm like, come on, you need to see it right now. I've seen it twice now. But anyway, I looked at Snoke. I looked at he had faint traces of white hair over his scalp. His fingers had fingernails growing rather long, but they looked human. He is actually a human. He's just been very deformed and very mutated. Now, it wouldn't make sense for Darth Plagueis. Yes, okay, he's been around since, for 100 years, but that still doesn't make sense about how deformed he is. I think that he is maybe a secret apprentice of Darth Vader. Actually, I don't really care who he is right now. All I care about is seeing what they do with it, not speculating on, oh, he could be this person, he could be that person. I don't really mind. I don't. As long as they do it correctly. As long as Rian Johnson knows how and what J.J. Abrams planned for this character. As long as he respects that and uses that, then I'm going to be happy. 3. Rey is not Luke Skywalker's daughter. That makes no sense whatsoever. I thought about this. The chronology of it does not make any sense because, let's say for example, Rey is Luke's daughter. For reference, Adam Driver, also Kylo Ren, who on second viewing, my God, he is an amazing villain. I'm gonna just say it right out loud. He is probably the best Star Wars villain for the first film. For their first film, the first introductory film that they're in. He's the best. He nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. And I can only see him going either darker or a little bit lighter, but also maybe a mix of both. And I love that. I love the idea of that. I love seeing parts of that in The Force Awakens. Getting off topic. Getting way off topic. Kylo Ren looks at least, let's say, 28. Let's say he was born 2 years after Return of the Jedi, which would make sense because they said that it was 30 years between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. Rey looks about 22. At least, maybe 20. Let's just say 20. So, if Rey was Luke's daughter and was in the Jedi Temple when Kylo Ren was doing his stuff, Rey, in the flashback that she saw, the weird Force flashback of her being left on Jakku with Unkar Plutt and the ship flying away, she was about 5 then. So if she was 5 when the Jedi Temple was evacuated because Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren were exterminating all the people, all the Jedi younglings and apprentices, then Kylo Ren would have to be 13? Wait. Yeah, actually, if he's 28, so he'd be 13. No. He was at least 20. He was probably Rey's age. So in the 8 years, so it's been 8 years since he's done that, which would make sense because then that would, Luke is lost and the First Order's come up in those, 8 years and all that kind of stuff. It would make sense that 8 years is a great difference. Maybe even make it 10 years, make him 18. It doesn't matter because he doesn't look like a 13-year-old kid in this little suit with all his mates, okay? They looked normal-sized. We didn't see his face, which would have been a key to it, but it doesn't make sense for Kylo Ren to be 13 because it's just how it would work. So, therefore, Rey would not be Luke's daughter. And also, a key thing, if Rey was Luke's daughter, she would remember Luke and not think that he was a myth. If Rey is really Luke's daughter, someone probably would have told her a long time ago because she was only 5. They would have either told her, or just simply, she's not Luke's daughter because she actually remembers her family. She doesn't say who they are. She doesn't remember exactly who they are, but she knows that they're coming back. She has faint memories of them from being a 5-year-old girl, but she remembers they probably told her, we're coming back for you. But because she's been on this planet for, 15 years at least, she's lost all hope. She's, still wants to come back to Jakku because she has that little subconscious thing that's saying, you still need to stay here. They're coming back for you. They're coming back for you. But secretly, she knows that she's lost. So she would remember the people that abandoned her. You wouldn't just forget that sort of person and think, yeah, Luke Skywalker is my father, because that totally makes sense. It doesn't. I think it's just convenient because everyone, before the movie came out, everyone wanted Rey to be Han Solo and Leia's daughter because people loved the books of the expanding universe novels and comic books and all that kind of stuff. People love that sort of thing. So they wanted to adapt that into The Force Awakens, but it just didn't work. They used that with Kylo Ren, making him Ben Solo. Okay, fine. But there was only one child. Okay, they didn't have the 3 kids that Leia and Han had together. They didn't have Luke Skywalker that he had with Mara Jade. That's a completely different story. They had one child in this movie, and that was Ben Solo, who turned into Kylo Ren. Rey just would not make sense as Luke's daughter. I prefer the fan theory that she's actually a Kenobi, a distant Kenobi, because Obi-Wan Kenobi, if anyone's seen the Clone Wars TV show, they've seen that Obi-Wan Kenobi had a bit of a fling with a Mandalorian Senator Kersey, I can't remember exactly, Satine, that was her name, Satine. And they had a bit of a fling when they were younger. Then they, met when they were a bit older and like a bit awkward, but they secretly loved each other, which is amazing. So what if they had an illegitimate child? She never told him about it. She whisked the child off away. Then that child went through the Clone Wars and everything else, and then they had a child. And maybe it would make more sense if she was actually Obi-Wan's great-granddaughter, not granddaughter, because then her mother would have to be really old for them to have Rey. I have to work that out in my head. I haven't actually figured that out. But I like the idea that she could be a Kenobi, because that makes much more sense than a Skywalker. But at the end of the day, if she is the prodigy of someone that we've already seen before, some character, small or big, okay, but I prefer if they do something really original with her character. I love that because she's such an amazing original character. Fourth thing, and this is very quick, John Boyega is awesome, and he's a super duper Star Wars nerd. So I think he'd be very happy, and I think it will go into what he's been saying with how Finn would have a darker side in Episode 8, because he's read the script and he said that he would be a lot more darker. Okay? So, my theory is that he will be implanted with cybernetic implants in his back, because he got sliced up really badly, and he was on his deathbed. Some people actually thought he was going to die then, but then he didn't. He's going to come back, and I think he's going to have cybernetic stuff in his back, which is going to make him a bit stronger, because he was a bit weak. He couldn't use the lightsaber, he could shoot, but he wasn't that great of a fighter. Maybe he'll have a bit more courage in this next movie, but also he'll have a lot more strength because of this cool stuff. Because we've seen cybernetics in Star Wars, and it's always worked out pretty cool. Fifth thing, I think Poe and Rey are going to get together. Han and Leia style. Just saying. I can see that happening, and that leads me to my sixth point. I think, because when I was watching the movie, there was a piece of dialogue that really kind of made me think. It was when Rey was saying goodbye to Finn at the very end of the movie, when she goes off and tries to find Luke, and Finn is unconscious, but Rey still says to him something like, I will see you again, my friend. Goes off. My theory is that in the next movie we'll come into Finn and Poe kicking ass and taking names, bromance style with the Resistance, while Rey does her training thing. The plot follows around them, and just as they're about to meet, I thought of this. This probably won't happen, but I'd love to see it happen. Just as they're about to see each other for the first time, Finn is here. He's just coming off a ship. Rey has just, slaughtered a bunch of stormtroopers and fought her way to her friend. And then Kylo Ren comes in and stabs Finn straight through the chest before Rey's eyes. Poe is, flying up, or maybe he's been trying to get Rey back to Finn, and they see him, and he's got lightsaber through the chest, and he falls to the ground. Same thing with Han Solo. And that's the moment where Rey snaps, and she is tempted by the dark side. Maybe that's a bit too close to say Empire Strikes Back, with, Han Solo somewhat dying at the end of that movie, being frozen carbonite, and then Luke almost turned to the dark side in his sort of rage against Darth Vader, and Darth Vader eventually wins. So maybe that would be a bit too close, and people complained about Episode 4 being, Force Awakens being way too similar to A New Hope, which, that's my seventh point, complete bullshit. I'm just calling it out. There was no point in that movie where I thought, this is the same thing as Episode 4. No, it's not. It's perfect. It is a perfect movie. I'm just saying. But I looked at that movie and I didn't think, that it was similar. I thought it was original. I thought it was beautifully created. But still, if they have big character moments like that, maybe a main character just flat out dies, like with Han Solo, which was an emotional, affecting death. I think that's mastery in storytelling, and Rian Johnson could probably do that. So that's my perspectives on Force Awakens in terms of the fan theories about different things. I know there's a lot more fan theories out there. I hope I can see it a third time before it goes out of cinemas, before like Deadpool takes it over or something like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting a lot more videos. I'm going to be doing a lot more reviews of Oscar movies. I've got a Hateful Eight review coming. Hopefully I can do a Steve Jobs one. I got an Anomalisa review in the works as well. All these great stuff for you guys. So subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Mr_movies_. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So long.